So also outlined in the obviously the new legislation in Alabama, it made it very clear that victims of rape or incest were not excluded from this law. So let's. I don't even like. I'm gonna be honest. I don't get that shit at all. I've never understood that about like pro life people. Because this is what I wanted to get into, right? Let's break down the Bible Belt. The Bible Belt is primarily the South, right? And the Bible Belt are it's the deep South, and it's people who are very, very strong rooted in their religious beliefs and everything like that. So once again, like I said, a lot of things that they believe in were already developed in them as kids, right? Yeah. I don't think they've taken the time to really get out of their environment and really look at the world at in a whole sense, right? So I don't understand how if a woman is a victim of someone forcibly having sex with them, ejaculating in them, leaving, they didn't want any of that. They are now supposed to, if 6 weeks later they end up pregnant, they're now supposed to hold that baby
for an extra 9 months. A constant reminder of what happened to them.
And even to add to that constant reminder, it's kind of like when you say stuff like that, it's kind of like it makes it their fault.
Yeah, victim blaming.
Yeah, it's like it's your fault you got raped, so no, you're gonna keep that.
Shouldn't have been wearing that. You should have been home.
You should see if you were in school. If you were in school, all
it
right?
happened at school.
If you were if you were studying, bitch.
I was studying. You busted in my room.
Okay, well, if you were studying in the library, all right. I just see how
all right,
this
you got me there.
You have a point. I'll keep it.
Damn it, library shit.
God, man, they're smart. But I don't understand how that's even something that's, again, like logical.
See, that's where a lot of pro-life people or a lot of pro-choice people can't understand pro-life people, because there's like stuff right there. There is absolutely no explanation for that. Like, give me a reason. There is none. Give me a bad reason. Well, how that makes sense.
I don't.
Yeah, like right. See, like you can't even come with a bad reason. Like that's like some crazy explanation for it.
Like, I feel like again, I really want to know. I want to one day have one of those people up here.
Do you know any pro-life people?
No, well, no. Like, I mean, I know. No, actually, like I know
they're hard to come by, and where we're from.
Like, yeah, like I know my girl's also very religious. But also, if I remember correctly, they also are people who are like, it's their choice at the end of the day. My girl is someone who I believe she doesn't believe in it, but she's not a person who's like, well, don't do it.
Kind of like she would be like, I never do it, but I'm not gonna stop you from
doing it, right? Yeah, I don't know anyone who is like, yeah, no, you can't. You can't do that.
Because I've only ever heard those kind of arguments where they just say very blanket, not sustainable arguments. And
it's wrong.
Yeah, that's it. And I've never heard, met one that's not yelling or going just trying to be the loudest person in the room to get their point across. Mm. I've never met that calm intellectual person that oh no, abortions are blah blah blah. This is because of this. So this is the facts. Fact. I'm like, if I met one of those people, maybe I would have a different opinion. But
right,
never met any pro-life person like that.
I don't want to make this seem like we're bashing pro-life people, because I'm not. Because I know fundamentally, like I said, I know where their heart is. Fundamentally,
right?
For most of them,
yeah, for the good-hearted, they really truly believe a life is a life,
right, and I completely understand that, right? Yeah. My thing is when it does creep into this aspect of rape or incest and things like that, to me, it's inexcusable. There's no reason why this should be something that should be carried out.
Yeah.
Like it makes zero sense, and I just don't. It actually kind of makes me like it's sick. It's gross.
Yeah.
It's really gross to think that, pretty much. Like I don't even like if something.
The only thing I can compare it to, just like off the top of my head, is if like someone were to chop your arm off, and then for the next 9 months, that guy's constantly around you, just like waving your own arm to you, like, "Hey, I did this to you, and nothing happened to me.
You can't get it back.
Can't
It's
get it
mine.
back. Sorry, mine.
Mine.
It's like,
Yeah, man. It just.
I
just don't.
See, I think after this story came out, I think I read something that said the penalty for like trying to get rid of a rape baby, I guess you call it, the penalty for trying to get rid of it is now harsher than the actual rape penalty.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, if we're going by the whole Class A felony, then yeah, punishable up to 99 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, because then I don't like rapists don't get 99 years.
Not even close, man. Some only get 3 months in probation.
Yeah. Shout out to you. I just don't, because I feel like this should, if it's gonna stay like this, if this actually does come to fruition and this,
They keep gaining traction.
This keeps getting traction, I think what's gonna start to happen is, I'm not proposing this, but it's probably gonna start to happen. All right, so you know how a lot of females who or women, excuse me, a lot of women who like to date like rich athletes and actors and shit. You know how they do
Right.
certain things to, basically their whole goal at a point is to get pregnant so they can end up, getting this money from these people for
Alimony, child
Right.
supportment.
all that stuff, right?
What did I say? Support.
You said child supportment?
Yeah, I don't think that was it. But
Child support.
Child support.
Yeah. Alimony is only when you're married.
Right.
So I feel like what's gonna start happening is these girls are just gonna start raping these guys.
Oh, I want to ask the audience something because I've never looked this up. Because can women legally rape?
I'm telling you, it can be done.
Don't think so. I think
It can be
because I
done.
think back like when these laws were invented, like because men was like macho, whatever. Getting a hard on was consent.
It can be done. I just don't.
I know, I get it, like logically, common sensely, it could be done, but like legally, I'm talking about legally, like in the law books.
I'm sorry. I just feel like if that. Look, we are still primarily very young, right? We've only been here 27 years. I'm pretty sure there are people like us who thought just like us years and years and years ago. I'm quite sure there were women who thought just like us too. I feel like by now we would have had like a serial woman rapist or something, right? And we just haven't because I
Right.
don't think like it's not.
But the
They're not
thing
going
is,
to do
it's
it.
because it's like these macho ass men, especially back before our time, where like
Right.
men do this and men are here and women are over there, and who's gonna admit to a woman raping them, especially back then? The one Cardi B raped or whatever, according to him, he couldn't even really admit it. He was still trying to boast about like how he got her up there and all this shit, and
Right,
then
right.
it was after the fact.
Right.
So, I'm talking about legally. If any of you know, like legally,
I feel like legally you can, but whatever.
yeah, let's move past it.
I think women are going to start. They're going to start raping these men, but in states where this type of stuff is now like, no, she has to keep that, and yeah, you're going to pay for that. Yeah, it's your kid. Yeah, it's like, oh no, I didn't want to have it. Like she forced me. I was drunk, and she rode me, and it's like no.
You came, sir.
No, you came. Like, and I feel like only if this does end up really passing and coming into effect, only then is it going to start to be looked at as like, wait a minute, we should maybe think about this because now it's hurting our bottom dollar.
Oh, right, yeah.
as
Now
men.
it's affecting the men.
Like, wait a minute, hold on.
no.
I didn't want this baby.
Okay.
All right. She was giving me top. She blindfolded me. It felt good, and then all of a
Drank it,
sudden,
and then she was pregnant. Her stomach was pregnant.
all of a sudden, the mouth got a little too tight, and I was like, wait a minute. But I was handcuffed. I couldn't get her off me. So of course I busted.
Yes, they were my handcuffs. What does that have to do with anything?
I busted inside of her. What do you want me to do?
I can't hold it in.
I can't hold it. God damn. Bitch was fine.
She knew how to ride.
But like, to me, I think we're getting at a point to also.
Yeah, no, I think you're right because until like it gets to that point where it starts affecting men, like nothing's gonna change. Because all the people in power are the 22 people you saw, the 22 men that have control over that shit. But you know, at the end of the day, those people they know how to get their whoever an abortion. Like they're not going to be affected by this law.
Right. That's another thing where it feels like because let's be honest. If you commit a crime in America today, right? Besides like the two big ones, well, actually no, not even take both of those out. Fuck it. So if you commit a crime in America, I don't think people realize that it doesn't really matter what you did. Only thing that matters is A, who you know, B, how much you're willing to pay. Because you can get out of a lot of shit if you have the connections and the resources to get out of it. We've seen it, right? These people who are voting on essentially on millions and millions of women's rights and everything, they have the funds and resources to where none of this shit applies to them anyway. Which to me is the part where I said common sense should say that doesn't make any fucking sense. All right? Because how can you tell people who, like I said before, they do not have the financial ability or the resource to take care of these children? Right. If they wanted to do an actual like I don't know what you would call it, but let's just say they wanted to do an abortion that had nothing to do with rape or incest, right? So an actual like this is their choice. They're trying to get rid of this baby because they can't take care of it, right? They have valid reasons. They can't take care of the baby, and no one around them is going to help them take care of it, right? So it's better to get rid of it now instead of bringing it up in this world and then being able to not take care of it, and then either having to let it go, or like a lot of which sucks. A lot of young parents do. They'll just try to like they'll abandon it. They'll freaking they'll try to pawn it off on like close relatives. I've seen women.
The whole abandon with the grandparents kind of thing.
Yeah, I've seen women like leave it with their friend or whatever, and then just never come back, type shit. You know what I mean? And
think about how mentally fucked up you have to be to have that option.
But see, again,
like how scared you are, and like how
that goes back to what I said earlier. Like there's so many mental health issues with this law, if it's going to go into effect, that no one's looking at.
Yeah,
I really do think they're just like, okay, if they had sex and he ejaculated, clearly she wanted that. So if she wanted that, you should be able to take the baby. And it's like, well, no, those things don't correlate. One, two, just because I had sex with someone and he ejaculated inside of me does not mean that I wanted the baby after it. Okay, It doesn't mean that at all. All right. So to me, it's an odd way of thinking, because you're basically putting in jeopardy not just the life of, or again, it's debatable if you're putting a life in jeopardy. But you're putting basically lives in jeopardy.
Yeah, multiple people.